This Pecha Kucha will explore who holds knowledge within the Vital North Partnership, a strategic collaboration between 7 Stories, the National Centre for Children's Books, and Newcastle University. Seven Stories has a number of different teams with different expertise. Our collections and exhibitions team have a detailed knowledge of our archive and how to curate this for a public audience. Thinking about our visitor centre, 7 Stories front of house and programming staff know about how to engage with our visitors, what kind of content works for them, and how to make the best use of our public-facing spaces. And 7 Stories Learning and Participation team knows about how to develop programmes which encourage children and parents to engage with reading for pleasure and prompt a creative response. Thinking about Newcastle University, there are academic schools such as the School of Education, Communication and Language Sciences and the Business School, who have a broad and expert knowledge of a particular subject area. Then research groups and centres have a particular knowledge of a research field, such as Digital Cultures and Culture Lab and the Children's Literature Unit, who together with 7 Stories developed this virtual reality experience around 7 Stories' Catherine Store collection. Interdisciplinary research projects, such as the Newcastle City Futures Urban Living Partnership, bring together academics working in different disciplines to share their knowledge of a broad research question. In this case, what will Newcastle look like in 2065? We explored this with 7 Stories visitors for the Big Draw Festival in 2016. And from the large to the small, the Vital North Partnership's ecology also includes individual academics with a particular research interest, such as Dr. Carl Grayson, a senior lecturer in politics, who has a particular interest in how politics are reflected in cultural artefacts such as children's literature. Here's his article on a bear called Paddington. Our ecology also includes postdoctoral research associates and early career researchers whose research field is developing. An example of this is 7 Stories and Newcastle University's Knowledge Transfer Partnership, which recently won a Times Higher Education Leadership and Management Award. Here's our research associate, Dr. Jessica Medhurst. And aside from researchers, students are a key part of the university's and the partnership's ecology. Firstly, there are undergraduate students for a number of different schools and courses across the university who are developing their knowledge by engaging with 7 Stories through taught modules and placements. Then there are taught postgraduates. The example pictured are the MA in Creative Arts practice students on a site visit to 7 Stories. They presented a new artistic commission at 7 Stories as part of the Late Shows in May 2017. Then there are research students, such as the Northern Bridge students, who are focusing on particular research assignments. This is the Children's Literature Unit's graduate group, who are undertaking MLit and PhD studies in children's literature. Newcastle University's professional services are also a key part of the partnership's ecology. I work closely with colleagues in the University Library, as they also hold children's literature collections, and the Careers Service, who have knowledge of student employability and enterprise. And then there are our visitors and audiences. 7 Stories core visitors are families with young children, particularly under 5s. So 7 Stories know how to effectively work with these early years audiences, who are constantly developing their understanding of the world around them. Both the University and 7 Stories work with schools and community groups, who work within other knowledge frameworks such as the national curriculum. And sometimes we work jointly with these audiences. Here's a project we ran all about fairy tales. The Vital North Partnership centres around excellence in children's literature, so a growing audience for us is adults interested in children's literature. Here are adult audiences at our Hope and Fears in Children's Books event, which was part of the 2016 Being Human Festival of the Humanities. Then there are adult audiences interested in writing, illustrating and publishing. And of course the writers, illustrators and publishers themselves. Here's Frances Harding, Costa Award-winning author of The Lie Tree, being interviewed by PhD student Aishwarya Subramanian at a Vital North Partnership event. Thinking about other partners, both organisations work with partners throughout Newcastle and the wider North. Newcastle City Council are also part of the Vital North Partnership steering group. We also work closely with other cultural venues in Newcastle, and of course there are northern academic partners such as the Northern Bridge Universities. And then the partnership is also engaged with wider national and international networks, who also form part of this ecology. For example, here's Professor Michelle Martin from the University of Washington, who's bringing a cohort of children's literature students to Newcastle in the summer to spend a few days looking at the 7 Stories and Newcastle University collections. And of course, different parts of this network are connected to each other in different ways, and these connections generate new kinds of shared knowledge. So who knows? The whole network does. But knowledge exchange within this network requires knowing who knows what and having effective structures and processes in place to facilitate this.